You ever wonder if the universe is keeping score like? What if that one small, kind thing you do every day, the one you're sure nobody ever notices, is actually the test that flips your whole life upside down? Yeah, that's the kind of day I had the day I found out kindness is a boomerang that comes back hard, and usually when you least expect it. And let me tell you, I was not prepared. You want the short version? I was just a broke, 24-year-old waitress, barely scraping by, working double shifts at the Morning Glory diner, more a greasy spoon than a slice of heaven. Kindness was all I had left to give, and I kept giving it, mostly to a grumpy old man named Arthur, who slid into the same corner booth every morning, never once cracked a smile. I thought I was invisible to him. I thought he was invisible to the world. Turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. It started like any other gray, rain-soaked Tuesday. The bell over the diner door rattled a sound that meant another plate, another coffee, maybe another dollar for the tip jar. I didn't know it then, but that was the last normal moment I'd have for a long, long time. Arthur didn't show up that morning, but his lawyers sure did, flanked by bodyguards that looked like they belonged in a presidential motorcade, not leaning on the sticky linoleum of our faded little diner. Back up a second. Let me paint the scene, because the diner was both my sanctuary and my prison. Mustard-colored booze with duct tape on the seats, a floor that always felt a little too sticky, and the persistent smell of burnt coffee. That place, for 3 years, 6 days a week, was where I learned to balance plates, refill coffee with a practice flick, and fake a smile so well, it almost fooled me. My dreams? They were locked away in canvases, gathering dust in a walk-up apartment I could barely afford. Art school was a memory lost to my mom's endless medical bills and a mountain of debt. My regulars were a predictable bunch. Frank, the construction guy who left a buck no matter what his bill was, the two secretaries gossiping about their boss, and then there was Arthur, the old man in the back booth. He wore the same faded tweed coat, rain or shine, eyes like foggy glass, never looked up, never talked. First day he came in, my boss, Sal, grunted, "Don't bother with the old coot. He pays exact change, wants black coffee and whatever special." That's it. Brenda, the other waitress, rolled her eyes. Waste of a table. Should stick him at the counter. But I saw something else, a loneliness that hit me right in the heart. So I started talking to him. "Not much, just coffee, sir. Or it looks cold out there. This'll warm you up." For weeks he met my words with nothing but silence. But I'm stubborn. One Monday, I saw his hands shaking when he tried to cut his toast. Didn't think twice. I took the knife, cut it for him for perfect squares. He looked up, and for the first time, those washed-out blue eyes saw me. He nodded just once, but it was enough. After that, it was our routine. Coffee, daily special, cut toast, never asked, never thanked, but I could tell he noticed. My co-workers teased me. Brenda called him my boyfriend. Sal said at least the old man didn't complain. But those 10 minutes each morning, they were my anchor. I did it because it felt right, not because I thought it would change anything. Turns out, someone was watching a mind sharper than I'd ever met. That rainy Tuesday, 7:15 came and went. No Arthur. By 7:30, I started to worry. He was never late. At 8:05, the door opened and in walked 4 men in black suits and a silver-haired lawyer, Marcus Davies, looking every bit like he belonged in a Wall Street boardroom. The whole diner went dead quiet. He came right to me, called me by name. "Miss Isabella Rossi?" My heart about beat out of my chest. He told me Arthur Pendleton had passed away in his sleep. The name hit me sideways. Pendleton. The quiet old man I'd served coffee and cut toast for had a name that sounded like it belonged in history books. Marcus said, "Mr. Pendleton's will requires your immediate presence. There's a car waiting." My knees went weak. "You sure you got the right girl?" "I just served him coffee." "No mistake," he said. He left instructions about the young woman who cut his toast every morning. That detail, so small, so pointless, I'd never said a word, but Arthur had noticed everything. Sal told me to go. Brenda looked ready to bite through a fork. I untied my apron, grabbed my bag, and followed the lawyer and his entourage outside. The diner felt impossibly small behind me, and I had this dizzy feeling like I was being lifted out of my own life. The law firm's office was straight out of a movie. Marble floors, walls of glass, a view that made the city look tiny. In the boardroom, two people were waiting, Diana and Caleb Pendleton, Arthur's family, dripping money and attitude. The reading of the will was a blur talk of trusts, charities, and a fortune that made my head spin. Then came the real shock. To Diana and Caleb, 10 million each. Caleb threw a fit, called an insult. The lawyer shut him down cold. And then, to me, Isabella Rossi, the girl who cut his Toasta bequest of $250,000. Enough to wipe out every bill I ever had, and then some. I almost fainted. Caleb exploded, called me a gold digger, threatened lawsuits. But Marcus wasn't done. To Miss Rossi, the property and business known as the Morning Glory Diner, which Mr. Pendleton purchased 6 months ago, and a portfolio valued at $5 million. You could have heard a pin drop. $5 million. The diner. He'd bought the diner for me. It wasn't a cage. It was a second chance. Leaving that boardroom was like walking through a storm. Caleb hurled insults, swore revenge. Marcus handed me a folder, told me not to answer any calls from the Pendletons. I went home, paid my mom's bills, and cried until I couldn't breathe out of relief, out of shock, out of grief for a man I never really knew. I finally went back to the diner, walked through the door with every eye on me. Brenda was hostile, Sal was stunned. I told them the truth. Arthur left me the diner. He bought it months ago. You've been working as the manager. The world tilted. Now I was their boss, and they weren't sure whether to hate me or fear me. Brenda asked if I'd fire them all. I said, no one's getting fired. I need your help. We're going to fix what's broken, starting with the coffee machine and that damn air conditioner. For the first time, someone laughed. The ice started to melt. That same day, a package arrived from Maya Brass Key, a note in Arthur's handwriting. The money is for your freedom. The diner is for your heart. This key is for your future. Turns out, the inheritance wasn't just cash in a diner, it was a mystery. Marcus gave me an address, Arthur's private penthouse. The apartment was a palace, full of priceless art, Monet, Van Gogh. But it felt empty, cold, like Arthur had locked himself away with his grief. In the study, I found the real heart of the man, an entire wall covered in photos, news clip. The center was a woman named Eleanor, his wife, a restaurateur who died in a car crash. Arthur never got over it. The diner, my diner now, was a tribute to her. Caleb, on the other hand, was just another headline: photos of failed businesses, gambling debts, a note from Arthur. He has her name, but none of her heart. There's a picture of me tacked to the board, and next to it, Arthur's note. She has her heart. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just the girl who cut toast. I was the one who reminded Arthur of everything he'd lost and everything he still believed in. The key opened a door, not just to a room, but to a responsibility. Arthur had left me a single share of Pendleton Global and a letter. You have a right to be at the shareholder meeting. Caleb will try to take control. Prove him wrong. I studied every file, every note. With Marcus's help, I learned the business, learned about shell companies, learned what it meant to fight sharks with nothing but the truth and a backbone. The shareholder meeting was a circus. Caleb strutted in, smug as ever, ready to take the throne. When it came time to speak, I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice didn't break. I told them about Arthur Arrayal, Arthur, the one who sat in booth 4, not the corporate titan, but the lonely old man who just wanted someone to care. I exposed Caleb's lies, his losses, his debts. I proposed something Nawa Foundation in Arthur's name, run by me, to help small businesses, to give scholarships. I wasn't there to take the company. I was there to honor the heart of the man who'd seen me. It worked. The board applauded. The shareholders voted Caleb down, and the room turned for once not on power or greed, but on simple, stubborn decency. Caleb was finished. The diner was safe. The foundation launched, and my life, for the first time in years, felt like it belonged to me. Now, if you walk into the Morning Glory Diner, you'll see a little brass plaque above booth 4, Arthur's Corner. The mustard yellow booth is still there, but everything else is new, better. Brenda runs the floor, Sal is my right hand, and I finally get to paint again. I split my days between the diner and running the foundation, and sometimes I still hear Arthur's voice quiet and kind in my head. So here's my question for you, because maybe you're sitting in your own booth right now, wondering if kindness even matters. Who are the silent Arthurs in your life? Are you willing to notice them? Or maybe, just maybe, you're someone's Bella and you don't even know it yet. If this story made you feel something, if you believe kindness still has a place in this world, let me know in the comments. Would you have done what I did? What do you think is real wealth, money, power, or the lives you touch along the way? Hit like, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories that prove the smallest act can change everything. Thanks for listening.